Why live with evil geniuses if you can't learn to be an evil genius yourself? Have you ever heard of that saying? Well, now you have. Listen carefully and watch closely as I show you how I outsmarted a full family of evil geniuses. And who knows, perhaps if you watch attentively till the end, you might be able to grab a thing or two, and no one will be able to take advantage of you, ever again. Like and subscribe if you ever want to be successful. Now that's what I'm talking about. When my parents invited me to the city and enrolled me in the most prestigious university ever, I knew my life was going to take a turn. I just never expected it to be this turn. Growing up, I was always extremely grateful. Who would have thought that Miss Janet, the most mischievous girl in the entire orphanage, would ever get adopted? No, scratch that. Who would have thought that Miss Janet would be adopted by such a loving and caring family? The most surprising thing wasn't even the fact that I got adopted. It's the fact that I changed. Anyone who met me now would find it hard to believe me if I told them about my past. I was a totally different person now. A good person now, if I might say. A very good person indeed. My parents weren't exactly well-to-do, but they gave me everything I needed to survive while I worked hard to cover up for the rest. In my honest opinion, they actually gave me much more than what I needed, but I wanted to make sure that our tiny village hut was always in tip-top shape when they came during the end of the year. So I worked hard to earn money and make everywhere comfortable for them. I grew up alone because my parents were always off doing hard labor to make sure that I was always alright. At least, that's what I thought, until recently.
You're leaving breadcrumbs everywhere.
Anna, one of the maids, said. Huh?
You're messing the kitchen up.
I laughed. What was our maid saying exactly? I'd made good friends with most of the mansion staff. Apart from the fact that my parents and brothers were hardly ever around, leaving me lonely, I just wanted to know what was going on in our home. And house staff are always the best gossips. But why did a maid think she could complain about how I was eating when the only reason she was employed was so she could clean up after me? I laughed again. Perhaps she made a mistake.
Are you deaf or something? Oh no, wait. Yes. You're completely out of your mind. You have gone completely mad. I just told you that you're leaving breadcrumbs on the table and the floor while you ate, and instead of cleaning them up immediately, you just laughed and continued eating?
What the heck was going on? I didn't want to be rude. I didn't want to use my privilege or do anything out of the ordinary, so I ignored her rude comments and continued eating the piece of bread that I picked.
You're just gonna ignore me?
Wait a minute. Why was no one stopping her? Was this the same way they treated my brothers? Anna, you're being really rude at the moment, and as much as I've tried not to react to this insulting behavior, I'm getting really angry and starting to lose my Before I could complete my sentence, Anna had lunged towards me and I felt a pain that I'd only ever felt in the orphanage once again. Anna slapped me. The maid really slapped me. I looked at her with wide eyes and an open mouth as she smiled victoriously.
Next time, listen.
No one even tried to stop her. A silence suddenly filled the room and everyone started shuddering. I looked up and tried to speak, but...
What absolute rubbish. Who do you think you are, maid? And you all? You all stood here while Janet was insulted. Stop everything you're doing now and leave. Every single one of you is fired. And Anna...
My dad called out as she started leaving the kitchen in tears.
This is the last decent job you'll ever have. I'll make sure of it.
I turned to thank my dad, but he was gone, just like that. After the incident, the mansion staff began avoiding me. I tried to talk to them, but everyone shuffled past me so quickly that I started suspecting that they'd all been gifted superpowers. Finally, one day I cornered Sam, a gateman's son, in the hallway. Why are you guys so scared of me?
I should be asking why you're so freaking scary. You're nothing. You're nobody. Yet our master fired the whole kitchen staff for you.
He paused.
Please, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to sound that way. Please forgive me. Don't get me fired, please.
Why would I want to get you fired? I asked, concerned.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
He kept thanking me as he ran away and avoided me even more after that meeting. Why did the mansion staff feel like I was nothing and no one, though? Is that why they accepted me willingly when I tried to make them my friends? How come no one knew that I was the last child in the Blessing family? Something was really strange in my household, and I was going to find out what it was. I tried to ask questions in school, but people avoided me like I had the plague. My brothers behaved like they didn't know me, and they were readily accepted by everyone else in the school. So, why was it different for me? I understood that the university was occupied by mostly men, but even the few girls in the school didn't want to associate themselves with me. I guess it was because they knew that I wasn't a billionaire like them, but it hurts. It hurt badly. How was I going to know what was going on in my family if everyone refused to speak to me? It wasn't over for me though. I had one last recourse: the deep, dark web. Everything could be found online if you only searched hard enough, and I was determined to search as hard as I possibly could. During my search, I noticed that I had to pay for some apps to give me access to more features. I didn't hesitate in using the little savings I had to pay for those features. I never really had a lot of money, and I was used to it by now. My parents didn't have a lot of money. They were just staff in the mansion. According to them, they were lucky to get the position of master and mistress that they applied for. So they manned every other staff in the mansion, and that was why they could fire anyone. Because after the owners of the house, they were the next in power. The owners had also dropped specific instructions that the master's children should be treated like their own. We were technically the owners of the building, but nobody treated me like that. My brothers were the only ones who got the glory. But everything had stopped making sense at this point. And you know what made the least sense? The tiny, dirty room I was given in the basement. Even the maids got better rooms. No wonder they felt like they could talk to me in any way. After 1 week of searching, I found blog posts and videos that had been hidden from the world. My discovery was worse than anything I could have imagined. Now, every single thing made sense. Why I was adopted and abandoned in a village. Why my so-called parents only ever gave me enough not to die. Why my parents only came around once a year when it was time to take family portraits. Why my brothers acted like I didn't exist and didn't consider me a sister. Why I was given a terrible room in the basement, not even fit for a maid. Why the mansion staff didn't regard me, and why everyone in school thought I was a lowlife and didn't want to be associated with me. I wasn't wanted. I'd never been wanted. But one thing didn't quite make sense. Why not leave me to attend university in the village? If I'd been left there like I'd been for the past 13 years, I'd have never discovered the truth. Why take such a big risk? I had to find out. My father invited me to a big event. Apparently, their boss's friend was around and wanted to see the whole family. He told me that if I made a good impression, that he might get a better job and make everyone's lives better. He kept everyone at arm's length, and I tried to have a conversation with my brothers, but they ignored me as usual and just stood beside me. I didn't bother with my mom because she looked scared out of her mind like she always looked. Since I was so close to my dad, I put a truth serum that I'd gotten online into his drink. He had to tell me the truth that night. When he finally lost his guard, he confessed to everything while I secretly recorded his confession. He didn't believe that women served any other purpose apart from procreation, so he didn't give them jobs or chances. He also didn't associate with them because he felt they were below him. My mom's purpose was simply to give him 4 sons. And once she did that successfully, her new purpose was to smile and look perfect in pictures, and she played that role perfectly. The only reason he adopted me was for business. A competitor who used to be his best friend and who knew all his secrets wanted to bring him down, so he made up press releases and shared them to different media outlets, telling the whole world what the greatest businessman thought about women. He wanted his business to end because a lot of my father's investors were equally women. My dad did a lot of things to save his company, but the best thing he did that saved his image was adopting a poor 5-year-old orphaned child and raising the child properly. He laughed and said,
Actually, I didn't give a hoot about you. I just wanted you to think I did, and that's why I fed you all those lies. You thought you were being given the best, right? Women don't deserve anything good. I definitely didn't give you anything.
I knew all of this already, thanks to that article, but hearing it from my own dad's mouth, a man that I loved and worshipped for over a decade, really shattered my heart. Why did you bring me to the city, though? I would have never found out anything if you just left me in the village, you know? He smiled.
Another competitor was trying to give my school a bad name since I hardly ever admitted females. They wondered why my own daughter wasn't going to attend my own school.
Your own school? The university's yours? How didn't I see this online?
Yep, it is. And so many other structures too. To quell the rumors, guess what I did?
You got me to come to the school.
Exactly.
Dad?
Huh?
Did you ever love or care for me just a little bit?
No, you were solely for business.
My dad didn't remember that he'd made such a terrible confession when morning came, so I had enough time to think strategically concerning the next steps that I was going to take. I continued schooling in my dad's school and I did my best to get the best grades in the school, but none of my course mates cared since they knew that I wasn't as rich as they were. They were wrong. When I shared the recording with my father, he was flabbergasted, and I was extremely excited. I insisted that he send me a monthly stipend that ran into billions, despite the fact that he kept insisting that doing that monthly for over a year would make him bankrupt. Distraught and confused, he sent kidnappers my way, but the leader turned out to be a guy I used to help when I was in the village. We hugged and caught up, and once we were done with that, we proceeded to have a civil discussion with my father concerning his behavior. He didn't try anything again after that. I saved every penny and invested it while working to earn the money I spent and living in my own house. Luck shone my way and my investments turned into gold, doubling and tripling in interest by 200% and upwards. I saved the company by buying it for pennies before it could turn to ruins, and then I fired my family from the company and separated myself from them legally. I changed everything about the company and started a new age. Why live with evil geniuses if you can't learn to be an evil genius yourself? I don't hate my family. No, not one bit. As a matter of fact, I love and appreciate them because they made me what I am today. An evil genius. Genius.